Hello everyone. Welcome to the 4 maps. The 4 maps of happy, successful people. Do you want to be happy? Do you want to be successful? Do you want to achieve all of your dreams? Well, this technology I'm going to share with you today in this online course is going to show you exactly how to get there as fast as possible. This 4 maps book that I've co-authored with my son Aaron shows you exactly how over 30 years of my career I've helped thousands of people become millionaires, but more importantly, hundreds of thousands of people to achieve their dreams. And I've boiled it down into a simple system that anybody can learn. We're not going to be talking specifically about money today. We're talking about whatever you want, however you want to achieve whatever you've set inside your mind as a dream. And most people have dreams, but they don't achieve them. Something stops them between where they are now in their before picture and where they are in their after picture. And what I want to show you is how to connect those two so that day after day after day, using very simple technology, you can achieve what you want step by step, all the way to what you want. So join with us today. I've got some folks here with us who are going to serve as my audience, and many times I'll be looking at you, and often I'll be pointing here to Juan and to Ralph as I ask them some exercises that you are going to do with them as well. So I'm going to ask you to get out a blank piece of paper, several if you will, and I'm going to give you some homework assignments. I'm going to show you exactly how to draw these simple maps. Now I'm going to be teaching you some simple, almost silly diagrams of how you can visualize what you want. We're going to be using such simple diagrams that anybody can draw them. If you are not good at art, if that wasn't your thing in school, doesn't matter, because anybody can draw a frowny face, anybody can draw a smiley face. And that's where we want to take you, from a frowny face life to a smiley face life, and exactly how you achieve that. So these 4 maps, and number 1 is the clarity map. It's how you get clarity on what you really want. Number 2 is the anticipation map, how you can anticipate the challenges that are going to come towards you and how you can navigate around them, through them, to the top of the mountain of your dreams. The number 3 is the ritual map, and what you do on a daily basis to prepare yourself to achieve everything you've ever wanted. And number 4, we're going to talk about the task map. And what is the task map? It's this getting things done day after day after day after day, all the way up to where you really want to live your life of your dreams. Well, it's a long slog, and you need to know exactly how to organize the to-do list to get you to that ultimate goal. And matter of fact, I'll be telling you some things like throw away your to-do list. I'll be talking about how you can do simple, ordinary, but very powerful things day after day after day to be who you really want to be. So the bottom line is get out a blank piece of paper, get ready take some notes. And in this online course, over the next several hours, I want you to enter into the mindset of a person who is on their way to where they really want to be. So welcome, and I want to introduce you to here Ralph. Ralph, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, sir.
How about you, Juan?
Wonderful, thank you very much.
I'm so glad that you're here with us today. The techniques that I've taught in my personal life and some of the best-selling books I've written, one of them was on real estate investing and creating wealth, multiple streams of income, and the 1 Minute Millionaire, 4 of my most famous books. I've sold millions of copies. And what I've found is I teach these concepts to people around the world, whether it's in China or in Italy. They all have a beginning set of techniques that I teach them, but if they don't have the right mindset, then they can't transfer their personal power into doing the things they need to do. And as I've been teaching these concepts for the last 35 years, I find some people are kind of natural at it. They just take the instructions and they go out in the world and do it. And they call me later and they say, it worked, thank you very much. And I find many, and almost even most, they'll learn the instructions, they'll learn the steps that they need to follow, and then something gets in the way. And it's usually they get in the way of themselves. And this is where I wish, 35 years ago, I'd been able to start them off with what I'm going to teach you today. If I could just have shown them in just a couple of hours that you're going to learn how to reorganize your thinking process and your organizational process so that you could apply skills, money skills, or any kind of skill you want to learn. You can use that through your mindset to apply it to any area of your life. But since I didn't do that 35 years ago, because I didn't know this 35 years ago, then I had a lot of students learn the techniques but couldn't apply it because of their personal situations, how they thought, their mindset. And mindset is absolutely essential to your success. I mean, it's one of the fundamental principles of inside and outside. Everything you want outside of you really starts inside your brain, inside your thinking process. And if you can't imagine it, if you can't see yourself doing it, if you can't mentally grasp it, and believe that it's possible for you to do it, more than likely, the very first step or two you take, you'll stop. You'll doubt. You'll fear. You'll step back. You'll procrastinate. And when you do, guess what happens? You stop. And when you stop, the whole dream stops. And what I want to do is to teach you today a technology so that you are constantly taking steps towards what you want without the doubt, without the fear, without the procrastination. And that's what I call the 4 maps. And the 4 maps, number one, they're inside out. So failure and success is an inside out process. And the next principle I want to teach you is that 24 hours is the deadline for every commitment that you make. If you're not committing every single day, then usually the day comes along where you forget your commitment, you forget your dream, you get overwhelmed by things going on around you, and then things stop. So the 24 hours is the deadline. I want you to remember that tomorrow morning when the sun comes up, you have to recommit to this. Because we're forgetting machines. We just forget constantly. And we are constantly being distracted. And this world is the most distracting place on the planet. You take your cell phone and every little ding on your phone, every message you receive, every text, every email, it's all coming right in your hand. And it's distracting you 24 hours a day. And so the 24-hour period of time is the deadline for your commitments. You need to do it tomorrow. You got to prepare yourself to go get your dream tomorrow like you did yesterday, right? And finally, the final principle I want to teach you is that that all success is either, all thinking, I guess, is either dream-based or fear-based. It's almost as if there are 2 kinds of programs inside your mind, and one that is fear-based, and basically that's kind of evolutionary. We just kind of think, what's the worst that can happen so we can protect ourselves? The dream-based technology is more of a modern mindset. Back in the evolutionary times, they were worried about how they can kill the next mastodon. For us, we get a chance to dream whatever we want on this planet. Anything we want to do is possible. And yet, we get the fear-based mindset kicks in almost automatically. And so, as you teach yourself how to have a dream-based mindset, guess what's going to happen? Eventually, you'll start seeing the world through a dream-based eyes. You'll start looking for solutions. You're looking for opportunities. You're looking for ways in which you can achieve the dreams you've always set for yourself. So, as we get started here today, I want you to ask yourself the question, am I a dream-based person or am I a fear-based person? And most of us have both of these programs. And as you do these 4 maps every day, what it does is it slowly trains you to move from an automatic fear-based mindset, an automatic procrastination mindset, into a mindset of leaning forward, looking for opportunities, seeing positive things that'll happen for you every single day. It slowly turns you into a dream-based liver, a person who is taking steps towards what they want every single day. Now, when we think about our life, as you scan over your life, from the moment you were born until one of these days, well, we won't go there, all right? I want you to think about your entire life. Scan over it in a big picture way. I want you to scan through some of the experiences you had in school. Think about some of the positive memories that you've created and maybe some of the challenging memories that you have. I want you to scan over your life in this kind of a way. In fact, take out your blank piece of paper, and Ralph, Frank, if you guys would do that same thing. And let's suppose this is your life. This is the span of your life. And this is when, well, let's see, it depends on where you are in your life. For me, I'm 68. So if I think I could hit 100, then more than likely I'm about right there in my life, you know, my timeline of my life. Now, you may be younger. You may be in your 20s. So your mark will go right here. Maybe you're in your midlife situation. Maybe you're getting even older than I am. Bottom line is, this is today for you, and I want you to basically mark that as where today is in your timeline. Okay. Now, as you think about your life over the things that have transpired in your life, I want you to go back and, well, here's how I'd like you to do it. Suppose your life was a stock, and it had its ups and downs. Stock, sometimes you have the stock value, your portfolio goes up, and sometimes it goes down, depending upon the economy and how that company is doing. Suppose you're a company, and you're a stock. It's being traded on the exchange, and it has some value that goes up and down, all right? So I'll just kind of give you a brief idea of, I was born at a very early age. And so let's see. Now, when I was born, I had a challenge. My mother died the day I was born, so I had to learn some lessons in different ways. I succeeded through high school and was a class officer and a leader there. And so what I'm sharing with you is how in my life, I won't go into great details, there have been great ups and there have been some serious downs. And as I look of where I am today, each one of these ups and downs represents kind of an experience, how I think about my past. And before we move throughout the Four Maps conversation that we'll be having today, I want you to be thinking about your past. I want you to be thinking about where have you been a winner? Where have you succeeded greatly? And where have there been moments in your life when maybe that was a challenging time in your life? We all do have those kinds of challenges. I'm going to give you a moment to pause here, and I'm going to give Ralph and Juan the opportunity for them to set out the map of their life, or the graph. I call this the autograph of their life. And if this is today, where do you plan on being, in the next 5 years? Where do you think it's going to be? Where do you think you're going to go? Well, first, let's talk about before we got here today, before you learned this conversation today. And take a minute, ponder back, where were the ups and the downs of your life? Okay? And I'll see you in just a minute. Well, welcome back. Did you have the opportunity to scan over your life, to look in the past and to see what you remembered about the past? Before we move forward with the four maps, I want you to make sure that when you look at your past, that there's nothing back there that's so painful that it stops you from moving forward with your life. So that's why I do this exercise, which I call the autograph. It's the auto, that's you, the graph of your life, like a stock that goes up and down. And every one of us has ups and downs in our life. And if you've scanned through your life and plotted those out exactly like I've done with my life, it gives you an opportunity to see, in a big picture way, what has happened in your life. And I'm going to ask Ralph and Juan here what their experience of drawing this graph was. So, gentlemen, what did you experience as you did this?
Well, you put under the light again your fears, but also afterwards what you've learned, the comfort, the knowledge that you have. So you will not do that again, And Yes, it was a good experience.
What were some of the dips in your graph?
The dips were illness, having to do over a class in high school.
How old were you at the time?
Well, the first time was I was 5, 6 years old, and due to health reasons, I ran behind.
So
class.
he's put on his graph something happened when he was 5 or 6, and then you had another dip in there too.
Another dip was when I was roughly, I would say, 12 years old. I had to redo a grade in high school.
So he's still remembering the fact that he's, back in high school, he had to retake a class. And so that's part of his life memory. And if you scan backwards, you're going to find bumps like that. Tell me, Juan, what about you? What did you experience?
I think it's a really good exercise because you kind of plot down the variations that you've had in your life, as you said, the ebb and flows, the ups and the downs. And so you look backwards and you see how you overcame some of the challenges, what those challenges were, how deeply they affected you.
Yeah, exactly.
And then what skill sets did you have to use in order to overcome some of those challenges? And so in my personal experience, some of my positive memories is when I became third grade class president. So that was a really positive experience.
Third grade class, he'll never forget that.
So that's kind of my entry into leadership and how I wanted to kind of develop my personality. But then there was a dip in there, and so when I looked at the first kind of major challenge I had when I was a youth, it was when we moved from Chicago to California, being in an inner city urban setting and going to a kind of a rural setting, and so that change in environment was difficult for me to make an adjustment.
And you still remember it?
It was painful back then, yeah, sure. And then kind of looking for new friends, so I had to start that whole friendship thing again.
And sometimes that affects you. If you had a bad experience, you remember it. It's painful, and so sometimes as you move forward with that bad experience memory, for instance, making friends, maybe that affects the way you try to make friends as an adult, because some of those memories are still in there, kind of still pondering. And so as you look at your graph, you're going to have some ups and downs. As you said, his was a third grade president, and so he still remembers it as a powerful, positive experience. It affected his life because he remembered it, and he was saying, I guess I have some leadership ability. The same thing happened to me when I was in my 12th grade. Somebody said, well, you should run for president of your high school. And it was like, duh, I didn't even think that anybody thought I would be able to have any kind of leadership ability at all. I remember how shocked I was when they nominated me. I thought, who are they talking? I can't do that. And yet I did run, and I did win, and it did affect my future. It set me up in a different way. Now, in addition, although I had some very powerful positive experiences, as you guys did, there were some moments when, that one especially, actually it was more like this, where an avalanche that we had at a beautiful mountain home up in Utah, in the Sundance Ski Resort. We'd built this beautiful, magnificent home, and it got hit by an avalanche. And the avalanche wiped us out financially because the insurance wouldn't pay. Now, when the insurance won't pay, and then for you, this mortgage is on the property, it ends up with a major problem in your life. And it took us many, many years to dig out of that hole, to fight lawsuits and all kinds of things. But as I look back on it, it was a very, actually, when I think about it, looking back on the big B, it was actually a very profoundly positive experience now, because I dug out of it. And it was hard. It was difficult. I had to dig really, really deep. And so digging out of the hole of that, it gave me the sense of confidence, like no matter what is thrown at me, somehow, some way, I'm going to dig myself out of it. So although, in a sense, I drew this on my graph this way, I learned from it in such a way that when I think about it, it doesn't hurt. It's like, oh, yeah, well, lots of people declare bankruptcy. Let's see, Walt Disney did it a couple times, Henry Ford, Larry King, everybody does that. And almost puts me into a very special group as I start thinking about it in a more positive way. So as you look at your autograph, there'll be moments of remembering powerfully positive experiences, and there'll be some other moments that I want you to learn from, to get perspective on, because that's what life is. Wisdom is perspective. It means you get to see your life from the broader picture, and you ask yourself, have I learned my lesson from that yet? Yeah, oh, maybe I went through maybe a bad relationship. Maybe it still hurts. Maybe as you move forward in the future, you go, I don't know if I've got what it takes to have another relationship that might work for me, because you're still stuck back there, having not learned the lessons of that particular experience. Scan over your life, notice the downs. Have you learned from them yet? If you have, then they aren't downs. They're lessons. They're positive experiences. If you have positive experiences like this, and from the times in your life where you've learned and you've gained wisdom from it, then all of your past life can be good. The reason that we're spending time on this exercise at all at this point is I want to make sure that as we move forward with the 4 maps, that you don't have residual things that are holding you back. I want you to look at your past and say, the past is the past. The past is a time when I learned, the time when I did some good things. Now, in an exercise later on today, we're going to take some of these up memories, and we're going to get into them, and we're going to really remember them in a more intense way. And we're going to disconnect from some of these down memories so they no longer have any effect but positive effect on you. So that's the autograph exercise, and I'm going to ask our audience here one more time, any other ahas, any other lessons that you might have learned as a result of that? Ralph, Juan, anything else that you came out of this experience with?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think when you're looking back and you look at those down moments, what was it that I was able to learn to overcome those, and how could I apply those skill sets to something that's going to happen to me unanticipated in the future, right? So I want to take those skill sets and apply them to the future so that I have less of a down moment, or I can come out of it quicker.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. It's the recovery time that lessons. You tend to recover faster because you have built upon something. So you can endeavor something else and learn faster.
Now, when I asked you to do your autograph, when I asked you to do yours, and even when I did mine, I noticed even the way I drew it was still looks like it was a down. And yet what I'm asking you as you scan through your life to actually see the graph of your life this way. It's, aren't you better today than where you were? Therefore, the summary of your life puts you here today at this moment with an incredible future in front of you, with a dream you're going to create. You're going to live your dream lifestyle. And the things that happened in the past are going to be nothing but an opportunity to step forward into the life of your future. That's exactly where I want you to be now, because in the next module I'm going to be teaching you what I call the clarity map, and how you get clarity, like this was the clarity on your past, how you get clarity on your future, and how you make your future bright, happy, exciting, how you get things done faster, how you can feel better about yourself, how you can build unlimited confidence in everything that happens to you. See you on the next module, the clarity map.